Hello everyone and welcome to Football Worldwide. Another transfer special today. We're going to bring you from two more clubs, which would be Wolves and Manchester United. So let's get into it. The first club we'll talk about is Wolves. There's a few areas of the team Wolves need to strengthen. They've got a couple of players that are potentially going out of the door. So Vallejo is expected to be recalled by Real Madrid, as he's just not featured in enough games. A 23-year-old Spanish defender. It just hasn't fallen for him. When he has played, he's just not adapted to English football very well at all. So Wolves are gonna send him back. And the other player potentially going out the door is Patrick Cutrone. He cost 20 million in the summer from AC Milan. There's plenty of Italian teams interested in him, as well as Atletico Madrid. Potentially could be a loan to a permanent in the summer deal. So Wolves will be hoping to recoup the 20 million that they spent on him in the summer, and hopefully they can put them funds to good use. So there's a few areas of the team they need to strengthen. One being they've got to replace the departing Jesus Vallejo in defence. At the moment they're playing Roman Saiz and Dendoncker in there, with Willy Bolly out injured. He's expected to be back in the coming weeks. By hopefully the end of January, he should be back in contention. There's a few targets I've come up with. Some suggestions who I think would be a good fit for Wolves. I think the first one, he's been linked with a few teams, not wanted by Juventus anymore, is Daniel Rugani, the 25-year-old, could cost anywhere between 20 and 25 million pounds. 6'3", decent defender, pretty good in the air. I think he'd fit really well into Wolves with the back three. Really good alongside Conor Coady there. I think he'd do really well. And then the next sort of centre-back be looking at is Ruben Diaz. The 22-year-old Benfica centre-back has done fantastic since he broke into the team a couple of years ago. One of Europe's highest-rated defenders. I'm sure he's going to have the eye on many top clubs. Wolves were linked with him in the summer. He has recently signed a new contract and his buyout clause is supposed to have gone to over £100 million. So it's an unrealistic one, this one probably, but it's one Wolves have been linked with, you never know. Anything between £50 and £60 million was linked in the summer. To get him, for any team to get him, he'd be a massive upgrade, especially on our defence. He's a fantastic ball-playing centre-back, strong in the air. And with all those Benfica Portuguese links, you know, he'd fit right in at Wolves as well. Another centre-back option, this one's a bit different. I believe Wolves lack, sometimes when Bolly's missing, we lack that physical edge in defence from offensive and defensive situations from set plays. So this centre-back is the Olympiacos centre-back, Pape Abou Cisse. He's a 6'6" centre-back, 24 years old, Senegalese international. This year he has had a couple of injuries that have kept him out, so he's not made that many appearances this year. He's only made 4 in total this year. With him being 6'6", he could add that physical edge to our game, so he'd be good from offensive and defensive situations, because we zonely mark and we do concede a few goals from set plays. So if that was one weakness, one area we need to improve on, and I believe Pape Abou Cisse would fit that bill. It costs anything between £10 to £15 million, which I think is good value for money for a player that can only improve. The next area of the team I think needs improving is central midfield. There's a couple of options here that I think would be fantastic and would offer a different option to what the Wolves currently have. So the first one is Gedson Fernandes. He's been linked with Wolves, West Ham, Manchester United on a loan deal for around 18 months, potentially for a 20 to 30 million buyout clause after that. Decent, I'd say he's box to box, good passer of the ball, technical ability is fantastic. He's got a really good burst of pace, so he can go round players. His dribbling's fairly decent for a central midfield player, and again that is something Wolves lack from the middle, is a dribbling ability, because mainly Wolves' creativity from wide areas, and to improve on their game, if they could get someone that can commit from the middle, I think it'll be given more space in the wide areas to hopefully free up some other like free up Traore and free up Jota and Vinagre and Johnny and Doherty on the flanks, to get more support and more balls in the box and more space hopefully. The next midfielder I think could be a really good addition is Frank Kessie from AC Milan. He's been linked with Wolves since the summer transfer window. He is available. Milan would be prepared to accept anything between 25 and 30 million. He has been reported to want to stay at AC Milan, but AC Milan have got some financial issues and aren't performing very well this season in the Italian league. They're languishing mid-table, so I'm sure if some money was put on the table, I'm sure their owners would take 25 to 30 million, and I'm sure Wolves then could get the man. Another area of the team I think needs to be improved on is the right wing back and the right forward areas. Nuno adopted the 3-5-2 at the start of the season. He's now adjusted back to the 3-4-3, which was successful in the Championship campaign and the first half of last season. So he's gone back to that, but they've lost wide players of Cavalo and Costa in the summer, and there's only Traore and Jota, and we've got Neto. They've got Neto as well that can play in the wide areas, but they're probably just one player short there. So rather than bringing two players down the right flank, I think they need to target one individual that can play in both areas, and then there should be plenty of game time for that new player, as well as Traore and Doherty, where they could just swap it around. So the target is Aurelio Buta. He's been linked with Wolves. Potentially on a loan deal, maybe available for around £5 million. 22 years old, of Royal Antwerp. He's played in a wing-back area this year and he's excelled and done really well. Wolves have scouted him a couple of times. I'm sure he's well known to Nuno from his Portuguese connections. Formerly of Benfica, come through their academy. So he probably does know one or two Wolves players from the Portugal under-21 team. I think he offers speed, he can dribble, so he offers a different option maybe in the wing back area if when Doherty's out. They've then got Traore and Buta down that side with plenty of pace in there, and I think he could be a fantastic addition. And 22 years old, £5 million, I think it's a no-brainer. And then moving on to sort of the striking areas, with Cutrone going to either Italy or Atletico potentially on loan due to a permanent move, I think the two forwards Wolves should look at to replace him is Pablo Alcácer of Dortmund. Haaland's just signed for Dortmund, which maybe frees up Pablo Alcácer to be transferred. I'm sure he won't be too happy that Haaland's been signed. Haaland's one of the best strikers, up and coming strikers in Europe. Alcácer's record in Germany is really good goals to games ratio. He is known to Nuno, so he'd be used to his system that he plays in and how he's liked his strike to be. He can play out wide as well, so it's a good option to sort of spread round, so he could get plenty of game time. He could even go back to the 3-5-2 and he could link really well with Raul Jimenez if and when the time arrives. Another forward who I think is built for the English game, I think he'd be a fantastic addition. Nuno knows all about him. They didn't, from reports that we've seen and stuff, I wouldn't say he had a great relationship with him, but his name is Moussa Marega from Porto. He wants to come to England. He had a move in the summer. That didn't come off to West Ham. For one reason or another, it just didn't happen. So Marega stayed in Porto, and he's again been a mainstay of the team, scored plenty of goals. 28 years old now, he's coming towards the latter end of his career. Just coming into his prime now. Between 27 and 32, you'd say strikers are in the prime. So for £20 million, maybe a loan deal and buy him in the summer would work in Wolves' favour. And I think he would make a fantastic addition to that team. So the next team I want to talk about is Manchester United. They've been linked with a whole host of players in the summer. Mainly the area I think they need to focus on just for the transfer window, January transfer window, is just the central midfield area. I believe that if they sold Paul Pogba, they could release probably around 80 to 100 million pounds worth of funds to improve their team overall. For me, the best central midfield options they need, for me, is Thomas Partey. He offers that defensive option, that pivot in front of the back four, but also he is box to box, so he can get forward and score a goal as well. Physical, loves to tackle, and alongside someone like Christian Eriksen, who could be the pivot between the midfield and attack, playing those balls in behind for Rashford and Greenwood and Martial. He'd be a fantastic addition. He's £20 million potentially available, so he'd be an absolute bargain. if they can just get that deal done. They'd be moving in the right direction with him. Thomas Partey alongside him, and then with either Fred or McTominay, when McTominay's fit again, they'd have a really creative midfield there, with a good balance of defensive stability there as well. And then obviously wide, the forwards and wide areas, I think Man United are better wait until the summer, until they can get probably some of their more preferred targets. Other players that have been linked with, James Maddison, he's not going to leave Leicester halfway through the season. Again, fantastic player. The reported figures, around 80 million, but potentially he's going to cost in excess of 100 million. Fantastic player. He's exactly what Man United need at number 10, but it's just not going to happen, I'm afraid, with Leicester. Don't need to sell him. They're on course for the top two, top three. Champions League football, that's all they need. And I believe they might even be able to keep the players beyond the summer. Jack Grealish, another target again. It's unlikely Villa are going to sell him mid-season, even if they get a crazy offer, 50, 60, 70 million. It will cost them more than that if they got relegated, and if they sell Jack Grealish, they're probably more than likely going to go down, especially with Wesley being injured for the remainder of the season. In the summer, he would be a really good option for Man United, depending on who else they sign in January. They've been linked with Sean Longstaff, but and Declan Rice. I don't think either player's consistent enough to be a mainstay Man United's team. They'd be squad players at best, and at the moment Man United need upgrades into that midfield area. If they get that midfield sorted, they can start looking up at the top four, especially if they can do it in January. There's no reason why they can't get the top four come the end of the season. Chelsea, they're playing okay. Got a young team, so they might get fatigued a bit later in the season. So if Man United can get their midfield targets of Thomas Partey and Eriksen, I think they'd be a formidable team. Defence is pretty solid anyway. Good goalkeeper. The forwards, when they've got a fully fit forward line, again, very good. You can supplement with that with the youngsters on the bench. Chong had a good game against Wolves the other day in the FA Cup. And another target potentially they could get in the January window if Thomas Partey weren't available. Someone that is available is Emre Can. A potential loan deal, maybe buy him if Juventus are probably more than likely willing to let him go on a permanent deal. Again, probably anywhere between 20 to 35 million pounds should get that deal done. Experienced, former of Liverpool, knows the Premier League. He could fit right into the same role as Thomas Partey. More defensive, but can be box to box. Can shoot, good passer. Potentially a good potential leader as well there. The German internationals, he is a really good, talented player. So we met potentially as a lower cost option alongside Eriksen if Man United couldn't get the Thomas Partey deal done. But it all hinders on selling Paul Pogba for me. I would sell him sooner rather than later, because if he's going in the summer anyway, and if Real Madrid are interested and you can get a deal done now, I would sell him now, based on the fact that if you can get Eriksen, Partey or Chano and get two of them three over the line, which are all realistic, they're all available as well. So I'm sure if you offer enough, 70 million or so for Atletico Madrid do sell a lot of players. They sort of buy young, sell high. Partey's been in there since 2014. He's been at Atletico, so this is probably the option now to let him go if an offer is forthcoming. I'm sure he'd be, to try his luck in England, joining a great team like Man United. I'm sure he would be willing to, make the move. If you've liked the video, please hit the like button. If you're new, please subscribe, and I'll be bringing you plenty more transfer window updates and focus on another two clubs next time. Alright guys, thank you very much.